Hi, I'm SeanO with RestEquipPro. Today we're going to show you how to make SeanO's Super Pico. Now you look down at the table, we've got everything we need to make Pico De Gallo right here in one place. We're going to be using the Coupe R2 dice, and we're going to be using it two different ways to build this Pico. I've been doing it this way for a long time because it shows off all the capabilities of the machine, and it's a different way to do it that I think is better because I always kind of pump it up and try and add some flavor. So first off, we're going to finish prepping. There's a couple of points here I'd like to show. And it's when you're doing your tomatoes, you got to hold the tomatoes. We use a tomato corer. It could be called a tomato shark, a tomato king. There's a lot of names for this. This is what gets the hull out. We just run it around in a circle. Out comes the core. Nice little thing, similar to a melon baller with teeth, if you will. But we want to get the cores out because, you know, if you don't take the time to think of the very best way to do things for your customer, then you'll lose a customer. You won't even know it. Because there's one thing you don't want is be eating that Pico De Gallo and find one of those in the middle of it. So core your tomatoes. Then we have a couple of jalapenos. If you wanted to leave the pulp and the seeds in for a little extra heat, you could just do that. That would be fine. But if you didn't, how I do it is I split it in half. Then we just run the knife down each side of the V in the rib, and out comes the center, just like that. Come on in here, Producer Doug. Let's take a closer look. So we get down in here, just the knife twice, just like a V, and out comes the middle. So then you got rid of the seeds and the core. A little different kind of flavor. Some people like it that way. We've got the prep done. We're going to start, oh, forgot the onion. Once again, we're going to heel and peel an onion. So take each side off, and quickly split it in half, kind of the easy way. Peels off, and we're ready to go. So, first off, the first half of the Pico is, obviously Pico is a rough diced product of tomatoes, onion, cilantro, some jalapenos, a little extra flavor. So we're going to dice first. Once again, we take the dice attachment for the R2 dice. Discharge plate. You've heard it before. It's the only thing you've got to use with every function. So this goes in first. You use it with every plate and every cutter that you used in the R2 dice. So then we've got the discharge plate in. Now we're going to go to the dice grid. Remember, it only goes in one way. Can't go in upside down. So that goes in like that. Then we've got the cutter plate. In the R2 dice, the cutter plate, the top cutter plate, has a thumb screw that you screw into the drive shaft, and it holds it precisely and firmly so it cuts very nicely. So that goes in. We turn down the thumb screw just finger tight. You get to the end there and it stops. We don't want to crank it so hard that you can't get it off. Just tight. Then we have the lid. Lid goes on. As the lid closes, that sets and pushes a safety pin that activates the motor. That's the safety. So when you take the lid off, it won't run. So we're all together and we're ready to roll. We're going to dice the tomatoes, R2 dice, pretty simple. We just toss them in. Now remember, the machine's faster than you are. So you load it at the rate that you want, and that's how fast the stuff's going to come out. We're going to do the onions. I do the onions right before the end. I toss a couple of tomatoes back on top of those. Helps get the rest of the onion out of there. When you're doing Pico in general, a lot of talk about how much onion versus a tomato. Well, I kind of like roughly about 10%. That onion was pretty big, so it might be more than some people's taste, but that's about right there. That's the first half. So we've diced our product. Now we're going to do the jalapenos. We've got cilantro, a couple of cloves of garlic, and our spice and some lime. We're going to do that in the processing bowl. So we'll set that up and be back in just a second. All right, so we did the first half of the Super Pico. Now we're going to finish up. So I diced the tomatoes and onions with the dicing attachment and the dice kit for the R2 dice. Now we're going to do the seasoning. Now I do it a little different than everybody else. A lot of people would have done it all right here with the dicing. Maybe put the jalapeno through the machine. You can do that. Maybe put the cilantro through the machine also in the dice kit. And you can do that maybe by putting it between some onions, and they're hard, and they push the cilantro right through with it to give you a rough cut. But I do mine just a little differently. So I do it in the bowl for the second half. So bowl goes on, S-blade goes in, and we're ready to roll. One more time, I take that jalapeno. I'm not going to do all the seeds. So I do the quick V-cut. It's just one down each side. Out comes the middle. Take the seeds off, just like that, and we're ready. Let's throw those in there. A little bit of heat in this one. Not too bad. Going to be all right. Cilantro. You think I'm crazy? Yes, I am. I like a lot of cilantro. The way it works with this is it distributes because it's going to be cut really fine and really small. Toss a little garlic. Do a little bit of lime on this shot right here. We're going to put the rest in after we're done. Just a little bit. I've got some spice for when we're done, and here we go. So all we're going to do here is pulse the machine, get that stuff down to a nice fine mince. So I'm going to hit it a couple of times. There we go. I'm going to keep going. And now go ahead and jump in here, Producer Doug. Take a look down in there. Let's see what it looks like. Now watch. I'm going to let it go. And it's running. So you see how it's fine mincing, and the material will roll and go back down into the blades. Only need about 20 seconds. I think that's pretty good. So let's see what we've got. I take the blade out. The peppers, the cilantro, everything, it's pretty good. Oh, I like that. So that's what we look like. We've got it done right there. We're going to take it out of the bowl. To do that, we're going to use the handy-dandy Coupe bowl scraper. You know what everybody at Coupe says? Everybody needs a good bowl scraper. So this is how it works. Take everything out. I'm going to turn that right into the rest of the material and the diced tomatoes and onions. Just like that. Now we've got all the spice in there. We've got cilantro, jalapenos, a little bit of garlic. We're going to toss it. Take a look at that. Look how the color jumps out, vibrant, how nice and green that is. Keep turning it. This time, secret spice blend. Very simple. Remember Sean's secret spice blend. Lemon pepper, Mrs. Dash, little salt. Just adds a little flavor to it. A little something out of the ordinary. It's not just your average pico. That's why we call it super pico. If you want to stand out from the crowd, you got to have more flavor. That's what the food service business is all about. So we'll roll it around, we give it a toss. That's what it looks like when we get done right here. So we're going to distribute all of that mix throughout. And it looks good. Go ahead, take a look at that. Let's get right in there. Let's jump in with the chip. We're going to have the first taste right here. Delish. That's so good. I've been doing pico like this for a long time because you want to have some extra flavor. And that is so good. All my friends have always said, boy, you make pretty good pico. And I've always said, you know why? Because I'm SeanO, the RestEquipPro.